Greetings to you, and welcome to Uncensored Guyana. I am Dr. Persaud, your precious gift. Well, today it's a joy to be alive and well, and to be able to serve you, the Guyanese people, and those in the diaspora. It is an honor for all of you to be there. Again, I want to thank all the persons who take the time to share this video, to share the live, to comment. I want to thank all the persons who comments on the daily live. Thank you. For those who comment on TikTok and those who comment on Facebook, I want to thank you for that. It's not an easy thing for you to take the time and make a comment while you're watching the program. It's not easy to do that. But I want to thank you. Whatever it is, from my heart to your eyes, I'm thankful for that. Well, today I have a few things I want to touch on. My mandate is and will always be the safety of the Guyanese nation, the safety of the Guyanese people. I'm not concerned, or I do not concern myself with the so-called threats out of Guyana's borders. Those threats were there long before I was born. Those threats or that issue was not created by any Guyanese. No Guyanese, dead or alive, created that issue with Venezuela. The country became independent with that issue. So it's not for us to lose sleep over that. There are more people that have interest in Guyana that will make sure that that threat is under control. Maduro has to do what Maduro does best, say what his people need him to say, just to keep their interest, just to hold his control, or just to keep his power. He has to have some kind of significance. And the rhetoric about Essequibo is what sells in Venezuela. But now his hands are filled with the threat, with the glooming threat of a possible American invasion to change him. That's the whole purpose of the invasion, to replace him, to bring Venezuela back on the capitalist market so that their oil can be exploited. That's it. So my concern is the safety of Guyanese from the threats within Guyana. And oh, there are many threats. There are many, many threats in Guyana's borders, within the boundary, within the 83,000 square miles of Guyana. If you should spend time to think about the threats that exist in Guyana and the risk that you take as a citizen, leaving your homes every day, if you should focus on that, you might very well do what your ancestors did. Flee. You might do that. You may want to leave the country. Because what's the point trying to have a life in Guyana, but this life has to be constantly secured, monitored, and watched over? What is the point? So if you spend too much of time focusing on your safety, your security, if you can go out your house and return to your home at the end of the day, if you think about that in Guyana right now, most of you, if you have the means, you will just pack your bags, lock your homes, and leave the country, never to return. Like so much people in the past. And yes, the large amount of Guyanese live out of Guyana. That 800,000, that's a small fraction of the total Guyanese population. Guyana's population can be in the millions, maybe 2 million or 2 million plus. But they are spread out. around the globe. Imagine if Guyana was a country where the citizens don't want to leave. Imagine if Barnum didn't do what he did. Imagine if Guyana was safe since after independence to now, what the population would have been like. Imagine if we didn't have these crimes to deal with. Imagine if those ghettos did not produce those vagabonds and criminals and murderers and thieves. Imagine if that was not a part of our society. How much Guyanese would have remained in that country, produce their families in that country, invest and take the risk in that country? Imagine. Guyana's population right now could have been in the millions had the situation been different. Could have been in the millions. But for the past 40 years, there has been no population growth in Guyana. Zero. Because from the time the citizens produce families or children, they leave. Can you imagine? The population is stagnated, is stagnant. 800,000 for the past 40 years, just 800,000. Dying, giving birth, keep the same amount every time, same amount. It means that whatever extra comes, they're leaving. So when 100,000 leaves, or we have a rain now, the rain is falling now, so I hope it doesn't feed back into my life. So when the population experiences a boom, before you know it, before a censorship can be done, that boom leaves the country. So it's always at that level. It seems as though, when you think about it, it seems as if it's like a bank account. This bank account must only maintain a certain amount at the end of the year. So when you experience a growth in your profit, that's what you keep spending, because you only want to have a certain amount in the bank account. If it exceeds that amount, then you withdraw the excess and you just spend it. That's how it seems. So whenever Guyana's population rises above 800,000, somehow there is a conspiracy or there's a plan to force the extra out, either by death or by migration. Force them out. So the 800,000 remains there. It's like at that level. It must not grow beyond that. So you can manage the distribution of wealth, and those who are stealing from the treasury, those who are stealing from the country, they can keep getting their cut, their share. Because when you have an increase in the population, it means you have to have an increase of resources. The budget becomes larger. Services becomes larger. Everything requires more. But if you have the population stays within a certain amount, even if the country is doing well financially, how does that encourage the growth of the population? Because for the past 5 years, all that's happening in the country, all the infrastructure, all the projects, everything that's happening in the country, how many Guyanese have remigrated to enjoy whatever progress we're seeing? How many? For the past 5 years, with all that's happening, you would think that will encourage Guyanese to return. So you might have a population size of 900,000. And every year it keeps getting higher and higher. But instead, it's not. Look at the past elections. Is it? My thing is, The decline in voter turnout, the electorate, the decline, because it was massively, maybe 30% less. Is it that these Guyanese were in Guyana and chose not to go vote, or that they were not in Guyana? They might be registered to vote, or they might be in the registry, but they may not be physically there. They could have been, they could be living in some other country, but the names are on the list because they were Guyanese. Could it be that because of the migration, this is why the population, the voting population has declined, because over the past 5 years, Guyanese have left? Because I can't understand that Guyanese are there at home, but choose not to go out and vote with all that was at stake. I can't understand that. My theory is that they're not in the country. They live abroad. They choose not to go back to vote because to them, what's the point? They're not going to be beneficiaries to whatever is going to happen there. So they choose to stay away. While the economy is massively expanding, that's all I'm hearing. That's all I'm hearing. Oh, the economy is getting larger. Oh, it's massive. Oh, it's massive. Yes, that's all. But the population is shrinking. So when this economy expands like that, you don't have the population to enjoy that. So it means the excess of the economy goes into the pockets of a few. So keep the population low, then those who have to get pay get a larger cut because they don't have much citizens to distribute this money to. So it goes into those, whoever benefits, it goes into their pocket. The population needs to grow. The population, the growth of the economy must also grow in unity with the growth of the population. The economy cannot grow past the population. And it's not reflecting in the size of the societies or the communities. You have a lot of villages on the West Coast. In one street, you may have 10 houses that are occupied and 30 houses are empty. Nobody's renting, and the owners have migrated. That has to be fixed. Which brings me to my main subject. America is one of the deadliest places to live in general. And the Americans are the ones who are pushing that narrative. They're the ones who are pushing that narrative that America is not safe to live. You get shot every day. However, despite the dangers, despite the high taxes, despite the high medical bills, despite the fact that you risk so many diseases living in America, the most disease-filled place on earth is America. Chronic diseases. People have all kinds of conditions. All kinds of conditions. They're teenagers and they have diabetes. Kids, cancer. So much is wrong with our society, but still, if you open the borders in America, the rest of the world, their countries will be emptied. Because the citizens of the world in other countries, including Guyana, is willing to take the risk to go to America. Why? Because they have the perception that they're going to find jobs, they'll be secured. Economic security and social security. They're going to find that in America, guaranteed. That's the perception they have. Until they go there and they realize it's not what it's been marketed to be, and they're too embarrassed to go back to Guyana. They rather stay there and suffer. But why does it have to come to that? Why can't we, as Guyanese, create the society that would make it difficult for our citizens wanting to leave? Despite all the challenges in Europe and America, for a European or an American to leave America or Europe to go to another country, they're going to invest. They're going to make money. They're going to make investment. Or they're going to retire so they can enjoy the benefits of their retirement from their home country. But to say they're going there to look for a betterment, no. Europeans and Americans don't leave their country to go look for betterment nowhere else, because betterment is there. If they can't find it in their country, then it's hell the rest of the world. But it's not true. It is the perception that Guyanese are continuing to make available out there. We are educating the rest of the world as to what happens in Guyana and what standard Guyana has. I want to applaud President Irfan Ali. Let me do it properly. President Irfan Ali for an excellent speech delivery at the United Nations yesterday. We all know that our president is smart, eloquent. He's one of the best public speakers. He's filled with dynamism. I want to give him that. And again, I am proud of my president, Dr. Irfan Ali, one of the most eloquent speakers, or the most eloquent speaker at the United Nations Assembly yesterday. What I also want to point out here, and this is why I'm saying, if President Ali don't have a third term, I don't care who comes from the PPP. And like I said before, I'm pronouncing it again. Dr. Persaud, I see nobody else right now in the PPP camp that is constantly coming in front of the camera that has what it takes to be a good leader. Zero. Nobody. Okay? So unless by some miracle somebody rises up that can better champion the cause and the personality of President Ali, the only chance the PPP has of retaining the reign of government is if President Ali has a third term. Otherwise to that, the PPP will lose the elections 2030. And I'll keep saying that. So whether you like it or not, I will keep saying that. They have a chance if Ganesh Mahipal is the opposition, not the opposition, the leader of the PNC. If the PNC takes a woman who is not Amanza Walter Desir and some other woman, then they might win. That is my truth. My truth. That's my truth. If the PNC put a woman, somebody who's classy, credible, who can mirror President Irfan Ali as their presidential candidate in 2030, the PNC will win the election. Because she will have to compete against somebody else and not President Irfan Ali. That is if they don't change the law. If the law isn't changed and somebody else has to go there, then the PPP will be the opposition party. Now, some of you who didn't go out to vote and want to challenge me on that, this is how you can challenge me. If you want to prove me wrong, that never, that's what some of you like to say, never, it is impossible, regardless if Jesus himself is the head of the PNC, still the PPP can't lose. You have some kind of spell. You have some kind of spell that I don't know about. Well, the only way your spell can work to prove me wrong is if all you idiots who like to criticize 2030 go out and vote. You didn't go out and vote the last time, but you stay in your corner and you talk bullshit. Go out 2030 and vote for the PPP. Then you're going to be making it a statement that, hey, I am doing my part to make sure I prove Dr. Persaud wrong. But don't yap. Don't yap. Wait and go and vote. In the meantime, do what's nice. And what is nice is be a nice citizen. If you are a member of the PPP, be kind to the other Guyanese citizens. If you want to brag that you're a PPP member and you support the PPP, you're a diehard PPP, then don't be dumb and stupid and want to play your nasty game to the other Guyanese to turn them away from the PPP. You want to evangelize for the PPP, right? Start now. Be good to the other Guyanese who are not PPP members. If you know your neighbor is PNC, be kind to them. Let them see that, hey, you are a PPP and you can treat them with respect, even though you know they are PNC. Be kind to them now. Win them over for the next 4 years. Treat them with respect. Smile at them. Help them out. And then they would see, hey, the PPP are some nice people. Maybe I should go and join the PPP because I want to be like that. I want to be peaceful. I want to be calm. I want to be able to be successful. That's it. That's what you do. But if you're going to be arrogant and stupid, I want to say a lot of bullshit on social media and cussing other people out, you are making it bad for the PPP scam. Let people like me do the cussing. You live amongst the PNC people. You live among, well, just PNC people because all the others are PNC. You live amongst PNC people, then be nice to them. They're not going to be nice to you. You be nice to them. That's how you win people. Kindness. That's how you win people, when you're kind. So let's see. Now I have to say what I have to say. This is my platform, and if I'm making a prediction, this is what will happen. The only way is we wait until that time. But for now, I want to thank President Irfan Ali for representing Guyana once again, causing Guyana to trend in a positive note. Positive note. Usually when we are trending, it's some Negro stab somebody and steal a phone and just kill somebody for something, steal some bike, and it's all about crime. Whenever Guyana is trending, is a black man committing crime and somebody capture it on camera and just expose it. The rest of the world is seeing, this is why I can't live in that country. That's why the other Guyanese are saying, this is why I had to pack up my kids and leave. This is why I had to sell my house and leave. This is why I had to leave with my family, because of these niggers, these robbers. That's what the rest of the Guyanese are saying. So the 30% less votes that didn't show up to vote is because they're out of the country. And why are they out of the country? Because of them thugs, that they're terrorizing the country. People can't live their lives on the west coast of Demerara. People can't live their lives in Anna Katrina or Cornelia Ida or Stuartville or Metimerzor or Zeeburg or Parika. People can't live their lives there in that cocoon. They have to explore the country. They have to go to the city. They have to go to Berbice, they have to go to the airport, they have to go to different parts of the country, but they are not willing to risk it. Because when they look on the social media or the news and the newspapers and they see all the crimes these Negroes are committing, the people are afraid to leave their neighborhood. They have to experience Guyana on social media. They have to experience the wonders of the country online. They cannot physically go and experience the country because they are afraid for their safety. Now, while President Ali did a good job, I also want to point out, I am encouraged by the bravery, the unapologetic bravery of our president in his speech. I listened to every word. In his speech, spot on, well written, well delivered, and I think the message went out. Thank you, President Irfan Ali, for standing up for the people of the Middle East. You know what's at stake. I know what is at stake. I know the risk you took as president to make certain statements. I understand the risk you took, but it took balls to, despite the risk, despite the threats, despite the hammer that can come down, you stood up for what is right and what is just. And I tell you, my brother, the universe, the God of the universe, will make sure that none of the imperialists whose agenda it is to destroy this world, none of them is successful when it comes to their plans for Guyana. You did what a noble president will do. You call a spade a spade. I join you in everything you say, everything you said about the criticizing what happened in the Middle East. You see, I am a coward because I can call the countries by their names. And I can go beyond what President Ali went. But guess what? I have nobody to back me. I don't have a machine to back me. I don't have a system to back me. I already have to deal with them niggas sending me threats in Guyana. You think I want to deal with international threats from these international spy agencies that can take me out in a second? I don't have bodyguards. I'm not protected. So certain things I would avoid saying. I would prefer not to say. And besides, I was shut down many times on Facebook for opposing many of the atrocities happening. They shut me down. Who came to my rescue? Nobody. I lost income, revenue, livelihood. I lost business. All of that I lost as a result of the pressures I faced for the things I say. Who came to my rescue? Nobody. So I wouldn't risk it. I understand. I wouldn't risk it. But everything the president said is what I would have said had the situation been different. If I had the powers like Trump or I had the powers like these other people, of course, I would have stepped in a long time and condemn it and use my powers to stop it. But I won't go there. I have too much to lose right now. But President Ali, thank you. I also want to bring to the Afro-Guyanese attention. When Granger was president, how much did he represent not just Africa, but the atrocities in Haiti? How much did the PNC use their government and their powers to affect changes in Haiti? All I hear is when Ali became president, he deported how many Haitians back to Haiti. There's no evidence to that. When they had the crisis in Haiti, a lot of the people migrated to different parts of the world. Some came to Suriname, Guyana, the Trinidad. A lot of them went. But after the elections in Guyana 2020, I heard a lot from the PNC camp that President Ali deported a lot of Haitians back to Haiti and sent them away, and there is no evidence. They use the race card like they always do. But the fact that the president, on many occasions, every time he has the opportunity to speak to world leaders, he always makes the case for Haiti, always makes the case for reparations for Africans. President Irfan Ali represents the black people more than the black leaders themselves. He's the only one who seemed to care about justice for the Haitians, justice for the Africans, the only one. And you know why I'm saying that, why I'm making light of this? It's because it is not a gimmick. The man isn't pretending. In his infancy, I knew the president, Irfan Ali, Irfan. Since then, Irfan had a weakness for black people. Since he's a teenager, primary school days, secondary school, he always had a weakness for black people. Maybe that's his calling. Maybe God made him that way. Maybe that's God made him like that. Because for the things that he's doing in his government, the programs, the policies, everything he's doing since he became president, the blacks benefits more. The black people benefit more from President Ali's policies. And now he's risking his alignment with the international arena by speaking out, embarrassing, insulting the United Nations for black people. He's risking that for blacks. I hope a lot of you paid attention to that. He don't have to do that if he's racist. He don't have to. But every opportunity President Ali gets on a global stage, even in Guyana, every time he speaks, it has to be something to do with blacks. This is why I am saying now, if he don't get a third term and the PNC win the election, then you would understand what I'm saying with my words. There is a lot of work that has to be done to that society. And the president, Irfan Ali, cannot accomplish that in the next 5 years. Even if somebody else from the PPP goes there, they are not President Ali. A president is independent. He don't take orders from any party member. So if somebody else goes there, the president wouldn't be able to tell them what, no. They would go with their own plans. And they will undo everything he has done. The whole direction of the country will take a different turn. And the people who are going to suffer the most would be the Afro-Guyanese. Do you want to risk that? You want to risk losing President Ali for somebody else? So he must have a third term. The work has to be completed before he give up the reign. He can't complete it in the next 5 years. He can't. And seriously, give the man a third term. I want Guyana's population to grow. I want all the people in the diaspora to go back home. There's so much land, so much housing, so much opportunities there. The Guyanese are some of the smartest people on the planet. But they're busy building America, building Europe, building Africa. They can go and just build Guyana, make Guyana the capital of the world. But there's one problem. One problem. And now we have people in the top, the toppers in the political system. They're now feeling the effect of what I've been talking about forever. We have Amanza Walter Desir now running to the public for help. Why? Because other black people are threatening her life. Why? Because that's what niggas do when they think that they have no control over your decisions. Those VPAC people contacted me also before the elections. like 2 months before. They contacted me, them and some other one. I don't know who the other one was, but they contacted me, send me email, send me whatever. Not email, Facebook or contact. Called constantly, constantly. Once I decided to like, let me see who these people are. So I talked to one of them. I said, what can I do for you? The first thing is, oh brother, thanks for picking up. I'm like, fucking brother? Aren't you brother? Anyway, we would love if you can join us. I mean, is it possible? Can you come over and just campaign with us, help us out? We can make an agreement, we can this, we can that. And so then I said to the person, I said, I'm not flattered. He said, why? I said, no, I'm not flattered. Because if you were paying attention to me, you would understand that this is inappropriate. Why it's inappropriate? Because, come on, if you were paying attention to me and you know exactly who I am, you would know that that shit wouldn't stick. I've been promoting President Ali and the PPP like forever. How the heck you think you can come via Facebook? I don't know who the hell you are, and seduce me with some words and promises to help you out? You want me to help you to get elected? I'm that stupid. So I said to the guy, I said, I'm not interested. I said, I'm not interested. All right, I'm a PPP. I support PPP. I'm pushing PPP. I said, that's where I stand. I'm not interested in whatever pack you call yourself. I said, I'm not interested. And if they're listening, they know who they are. They can pull up their messages on Facebook and check. They can pull it up. But I have no access to my account, so I can't show you. I called a colleague of mine, an associate, a producer in New York, and I asked him, who are these people? Then I called another PPP topper in Guyana and I said, hey, who are these people? And they were like making fun of it. I said, yeah, but anyway. So Amanza Walter Desir decided to join these lunatics, left the PNC and desperate herself for attention, and maybe she wants to be president. She did not get to be leader of the PNC. No fault of anybody but herself and Aubrey Norton. So she joined these lunatics and think that they would impact her chances to get elected. All the people who voted for Amanza Walter Desir or for Guyana, they didn't vote for her because of these other people that she joined with. They voted for her because of her. Those are PNC voters that came to her. It's not VPAC or whoever PAC that caused her to get some extra votes. They had no impact whatsoever. None. So what she's alleging now, and the threats and all these kinds of stuff, I can understand that they're desperate because she's the only one who's going to go to the parliament, and maybe they want to rotate, like after a year, somebody else goes there, then a year, like the one before, where the woman did not give up the seat. She's just like, you know what, she's going to stay there forever. It's something like that. And you can't get women to give up stuff like that. No, that's a prestigious role. So maybe Amanza reneged on whatever agreement like Azrin and Mohammed did. And they're coming after her, threatening her, whatever. But you see, Amanza, Miss Desir, what I'm talking about? If the laws are strict and criminals are punished the way they should be punished, you think they would risk sending you a voice message with their number? You think they would risk sending you all those text messages knowing that the police can find them? They wouldn't risk that because they will anticipate and they can fantasize the punishment for those kinds of stuff. But if the laws are messy, the laws are like weak as hell, then yes, any lunatic can pick up the phone and send you a voice message and threaten you because he's like, oh, who's going to come after me? He can always deny it, says, oh, it's AI generated. There's no evidence to that. Oh, she's looking for attention. If the laws are stricter, you would be safe, Miss Desir. Now you have a female Home Affairs minister and a lot of female cops. How are they helping to protect women? How are they helping? You got a minister of social services. I'm saddened that she's still minister of social services. Persaud, Dr. Vidya Persaud. I'm saddened. She's one of the people that should be recycled. But when your people have investment in a party and you sponsor, you lobby for you, whatever it is, I understand the pressures the government or the president has to face. These people don't get picked like that. Lobbyists. Hey, put that one. Yeah, but they lose. Yeah, I said put that one. Okay, boss, you're the payman, you're the person who sponsors. Okay. I know this thing works. People don't get picked like that. They're suggested by whoever the powers are, the power struggle, the big money. If you donate 100 million to the campaign and they win, you can even go and say, hey, I want my pet dog to be Minister of Finance. You think they can say no? No, they have to put the pet dog. This is how this thing works. So we have a woman, Human Services, Vidya Persaud. We have a woman, Home Affairs Minister. You would think that women would have a sense of more safety in Guyana. You would think it would boost the confidence of women to say, hey, we have women at the top now, so these men would not take a chance or they would not risk it to threaten us or to bully us or to put us in danger because we have women at the top now. You would think that would be the case. But instead, a prominent woman like Amanza Desir is now facing threats. You know, they want to burn the bridge. I don't know what kind of bridge you're talking about, but that insinuates violence on the person of Amanza Desir. The fact that she had to come to the public to deal with that issue, it meant that she's really uncomfortable. She's really afraid of her life. A parliamentarian, a leader of a political party is fearful for her life in a country where her constituents mostly are blacks. Then who's making the threats? Indo-Guyanese? No, black people are threatening black people. Home Affairs Minister, a black woman. Now, Nandalal, Minister Anil Nandalal, you're responsible for suggesting legislation and responsible for advising the government on whatever affairs. Why can't you guys work together? Push harsh, common sense legislation when it comes to dealing with crime. I mean, you had 5 years to fix this thing. No, you have another opportunity for another 5 years. You just begin, and there's so much crime. You just began. Now look where the crime reaches. One of your own colleagues of the parliament is fearful for her life because some lunatic is threatening her and her family because of political power. Fearful for her life because of weak laws. Your laws are strict to jail a man who pimped a prostitute and then you claim it's human trafficking. But your laws are messed up when it comes to refusing bail for criminals with guns. For men who beat women up. Oh, they get bail. That's the laws. Now your own colleague is fearful for her life. Just because she's a part of the system and she knows she can't trust the system. She's a part of the system. She knows how government works and she can't trust the government. She can't trust the police. Now she has to come and she trusts her fans on social media. She wants it to be circulated. So in case if something happens to her, we all know where to point the finger. The VPAC people. My thing is, Don't wait until the rain falls, then to get busy trying to build the roof or put some plastic to avoid the leak, the water from falling down. You know the rain will fall at some point. The weather is good. Build the roof. Protect yourself. Prevent being flooded. You know the society that you live in. You understand that in certain ghettos, they produce these demon babies, these satanic possessed babies that they grow up to become thugs and vagabonds and criminals and crooks. You know that. Why would you wait until they grow up to become that before you put systems in place? If a prostitute comes and gives birth to the hospital, and you look at the boyfriend and you see that he's a criminal, then you know that's what they're creating there. Don't wait for the kid to grow up, then you have to go arrest him. Start putting laws in place. Start educating them to say, hey, if you don't raise this child properly, there are two places for him, the burial ground or the jail. They'll make every effort to prevent their child from going in either direction. No, they grow up and they live, they're not working. They're not contributing to any society. They're not making a difference to any society. They're raping people's daughters. They're spying on people's businesses. Look the other day at Monrepos on the East Coast, where that ugly ass Negro, that, oh my gosh, I look, that hideous looking, nasty looking, pig like face, zombie looking Negro, at that hour of the day, walked into a woman's stall and stabbed her for a phone. For a phone. Then just leave calmly. No remorse. No, these people have no soul. They're soulless. This is why I said kill these criminals. Shoot them on sight. This is what the law has to do. Because they have no soul. You can't feel a way if you look at what they did. You can just walk up to a woman. Just like that. Her first reaction is to resist. And because she resists on the first reaction, you can just stab her with intentions to kill her just for a phone. How can you give these people bail? How can you give them light sentences in jail? How can you even think that they deserve to live? When they don't see other people's lives as worth, that they can just, for anything, for a pencil, they would kill. For a salara, they would kill. For a bakewell bread, they would kill. So why not reach the same measure of courtesy to them like they give out to other people? I don't want any churchy home affairs minister. Oh, God and God and God. I want a tyrant. I want a dictator, a psychopath as home affairs minister. A lunatic. I prefer ministers like that. Who don't talk too much talking and make up a nice, no. Who can go out in military gear, decked, fully decked, armed, decked. Lead like that. Let the people see, hey, I'm here now. That's what I want to see. No fancy skirt and makeup, and that's nonsense, man. You're dealing with criminals. You're dealing with the security of the country, the security of neighbors, the security of the people, the peace of the country. You need hardcore ministers that can get the job done. Look, Amanza Walter Desir. Fearful for her life. Because people have been sending threats all the time. They always do it. They like to do it. And nothing is done. So they keep sending threats. Even though their intention may not be to carry out the threat, the discomfort they cause the victim to whom they send the threat. The person has sleepless nights. They have to be edgy. They have to be looking around their shoulders just because of of wasteful full communication from people who has nothing to do because they know the law will not do them anything. We have the technology in Guyana to track people, to do crowd control, to do voice analysis, we have the technology. Why don't you just randomly get to people and just scan them? You have the social media. Get them from social media. This thing gotta stop. Everything is a threat. Everything is a threat. It has to stop. Guyanese must feel safe and feel secure. And this thing that the police were saying the other day about they have a problem solving crime because the victims don't show up in court and they settle out of court. That's your excuse? That is your excuse for not solving the crime? Because people, after they have their hands chopped off, they don't want to they don't want to pursue the case anymore. Why do you think that is so? You think if somebody robs a store, if a criminal breaks into somebody's home and the person reports them and the police came and got them and they get bail, and then suddenly the victim decided they don't want a case anymore, couldn't it be, for all them smart cops, couldn't it be that the criminal threatened the victim that if they go and testify, they're going to kill them and their family? And in fearful for their life, they said, you know what? We don't want any case. You think those criminals are going to settle cases, millions? You think they're going to pay their victims not to testify against them? Where do they get their money from? Where are these criminals going to get the money to settle cases? No. Their currency is threats. They send people to threaten the victims, or they themselves threaten the victim. So the cases are dismissed. They play the mafia. Ain't no settlement out of court. It is threats out of court. So the police has to go to the victims and put them in a position where they can feel secure to say, hey, tell us the truth. Why you don't want to go on and testify? Then they will tell you, well, the person came and threatened them. But then again, what choice the police has, that if the police get that evidence and rearrest the person and send them back in front of the court, the judge or the magistrate, if it's a woman, might say, well, do you have any evidence that this person threatened this victim? Well, we can't hold the person, then we got to let them go. And they let the person go, and before you know it, the victim dies mysteriously. All of that has to be considered. All of that. So my thing is that this has to come from the Legal Affairs Ministry, the Justice Department of Guyana, and the Home Affairs Ministry. They got to come together along with the Social Services Ministry, because the Social Services Ministry are supposed to look out for violence against women, threats against women and children. That is what this Dr. Badaya Persaud should be doing. Protection. So whenever issues like that arises, like if this Amanza woman publicized this thing, she should have been called by the Home Affairs Minister, the Minister of Social Services, and the Attorney General. Say, hey, let's see what's happening here. Because this is threat against the life of an individual. The government should be busy passing legislations. You have cyber laws, but what does the cyber laws do? Cyber laws should also include sending threats via WhatsApp. Anything that has to be done via the cyber media. You got to be harsh on this issue. These niggas got to understand that nobody's afraid of them. They can show up with their monkey faces and their big skin and look like devils, like demons, and think they can make their face a certain way and scare off everybody else because, oh my gosh, oh, we're afraid of you, Negro, we're afraid of you. It don't work like that. You got to show them that they can make their face how demonic they want to make it. It wouldn't work because that's what they do. They put on this evil face, this evil, demonic, red eye kind of face, and they come to you like that and they make their face like this and they scare the people. The poor women and the Indians like, oh my gosh, I don't want any trouble. Take what you want. No, that shit got to stop. It has to stop. You're going to stab a woman for a cell phone? And they're picking on women? Every time it's a woman. Every time it's a woman. And when they have to go and rob a man, 5 of them go in. It's not 1-to-1. This is their strategy. Women who is helpless and vulnerable, older people, helpless and vulnerable, and children. Those are the targets for these criminals. But if they have to go against another man, another black man like themselves, 5 of them niggas are going to go to attack one black man. It's not going to be one-on-one. They're scared like shit. They're scared, they're cowards. Or they're going to go do a drive-by. Yeah, that's how they operate. So legal affairs recommend stricter laws. Home Affairs Minister, give your military and your police the orders to shoot these niggas, man. I'm talking about the criminals. That man who robbed that woman for a cell phone, and all the others who are doing that kind of stuff, they're robbing people with the bikes and all kinds of stuff. You got to get those people, when you find them, and chop off their hand. Then you jail them. So you have to pass these laws that it's legal for the government to chop off the hand of the criminals. What happened to the whips? The cattail now? Cattail? The thing? What happened to that? What happened to the 6 lashes? What happened to the whips? What, it's slavery? What, they couldn't do it because it reminds them of slavery? Yes. Then if they want to behave like the runaway slave, then beat them like the master would beat them. Bring the same thing back. Because the more society advances, the more dumb and criminally oriented these niggas get. And yes, I'm saying niggas, because the people who conduct the most crime, the most heinous crimes in Guyana are the blacks. The niggers, not Afro-Guyanese. Them niggers. They're the ones who conduct the most crime. So you have to treat them like that. Beat them like slaves. And when you jail them, don't let them come out. That's my policy. You got to be tough, government. I love the president. He cares about people. But sir, your priority is the safety of Guyanese first. I know you want to save the world, which is good, but please save the lives of Guyanese women. Because Guyanese women means Guyanese children. And if we want that population to grow, we need to protect our women so they make more babies. All those parasites that are killing the women, you can kill them. We don't want them. They can go. Get rid of them. All the decent, educated men who are educating themselves, they're contributing towards the society, they're paying their taxes, they have work, they have jobs, they're loving, they're caring, they're good citizens. Protect them. The policing groups that we have in Guyana is like the only country you have that. But all those neighborhood policing groups that we have, you need to have retired cops in those neighborhoods, joining those groups, retired cops, and they should be compensated. The government should give them a stipend. All their neighborhood watch, they should give them a stipend and weapons. Don't give them criminals who join the gang to say they're going to go police. No. These must be reputable people from the neighborhood who has a lot to lose, who want to join the policing group. Those people. I remembered back in the day when I was a teenager, One of my not foster, wrong word, my adopted father, Lalta Mahadio. Lalta Mahadio, he was a part of a policing group in Anna Katrina area there. And sometimes he would take me with him. Yeah, he never wanted me to be out late, but like I think 2 or 3 times. But so I was there and I would sit down and listen to the guys and hear they talk. And he was a firearm. He had a weapon. He had a firearm, a licensed firearm. But it was good because it kept the neighborhood safe. But why? Why do you need that? Because we have these niggas to deal with. They leave the city and they go to the countryside to steal. They leave Buxton and Agricola and Tiger Bay and all these places, and they go to the East Coast. They go to all of these peaceful neighborhoods to steal, to rob, to kill. Then they leave, so you can't find them. Whenever you find them, whenever they come to steal in the neighborhoods, the policing groups should shoot them. Don't shoot them so they come back and avenge. No, no, no. Make sure you shoot them to kill them. And when all of that is done, Guyanese abroad will remigrate. They will go back with their millions in the country. They'll go build factories. They're going to go build apartment buildings. They're going to go and invest in the agriculture sector, in the building sector. They're going to go back to their country. It's better. Safety first. Stricter laws, harsher punishment, and don't give the criminals second chances. Life in prison or just shoot them. Either way, the safety of Guyanese must come first. I'm sorry that Amanza Walter Desir has to face this. I'm sorry. But those women who are there in charge, they should step up and say, hey, no, this is getting too serious now. We could be next. Do your job. Until next time. Goodbye now.